So now that we're getting our values back from our server, what we can do now is take this data and then use it to update our templates that we're displaying at the moment. Now if we look at the format this data's coming back in, then it's already in a format that we can use. We've got an array of 3 objects, and we can simply iterate over this array and display each of these objects, or the ID and the name of each of these objects, on our page here. So let's just go back to VS Code, and what I want to do is just open up the value component HTML, and because we already have the values inside our components, then don't forget this provides the data that we're then going to use inside our template. So we can make use of these values, which is now going to be populated with the values that we get back from our API, because we're setting the values in here once we've got the values back from our API. And because we've already seen that's what we get back in our response. So in order to use these values, what we can do is we can just go to our value.component HTML, and what we want to do is loop over these individual values and then display the contents in here. And what we can use is an ng for loop, and what we can do, the snippets we installed earlier on, let's use one of them, and if we type in a-ng for, then this gives us a preview of what this is going to give us, and we'll select this or just press tab. And what we want to do here is say let value of values, and it's these values that we're looping over here, and then we can access each of the values inside this values array from value. So what we'll do is we'll just replace this value works, and we'll open up some curly braces, 2 of them, and then we can say value.id and add a comma, open up some more curly braces and say value.name, as that is all the information that we have inside our value objects. Now this ng4, it's got an asterisk to the left of it, and this represents a structural directive in Angular, and structural directives modify the DOM in some way, and the DOM, the domain object model, what the browser uses to display the HTML, is being modified by our ng for loop, because what we're doing inside here is for each element where we add the ng4, it's going to repeat this 3 times for each of the values that we have inside our array that we're iterating over. So what we can do is we can go back to the browser and brace yourself, because this could blow you away. And ta-da! We see our 3 values inside here. I know, it's not that impressive, and yes, we could have written this out in about 30 seconds if we were slow typers to display this content on the page. But if we think about what we've done here, we're actually retrieving these values back from our API server, from the database, and getting them all the way back via our API controller. We're then using our HTTP client service in our Angular application to go and fetch these values back from our server, and then we're passing that data to our HTML template, which then is displaying these values on our page. So whilst it doesn't look like much, what we've done is we've built the foundations for what we're going to build on top of to actually get a proper working functional application. But I know it doesn't look like much in the moment. But what we're going to do next is we're going to introduce the styling framework we're going to use, and we're going to add bootstrap so that we can take this amazing content and make it look bootstrappy. And we'll take a look at that next.